We have Catherine Cummings here with us today. She has an extensive background in social media, and she's here to enlighten us on how we can move our company into the various platforms, social media platforms. I assume that's the word, right? Social media platforms?
Social media platforms,
I'm coming hip, that's good.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to start with, do you want to start with Facebook, which is what everybody knows as...
Well, the top three definitely are, we have Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So they're going to be the top three. They're going to be imperative for your business, and you really need to get on those platforms and using them. So Facebook has a number of users. It's around 900 million. It's amazing. So that's all daily users. It's very unique in offering a personal emphasis on all your posts. So if you're involved on a page in Facebook, it's assumed that you're kind of brought into that company's world, you're brought into that person's world. So it's much more personal. This way you can find the demographics on Facebook, you can meet your followers, talk to them firsthand, and kind of do some research on what they need. So that's really a good way of getting people in on Facebook. And Facebook as well has ads, so you can reach your demographic by selecting certain people and choosing the amount of money you want to invest in those ads so that you can get out to a certain number of fans, so you can grow your base and grow the awareness. So
Facebook gets me to a much larger community in a quicker amount of time.
Quicker amount of time, yes, but you do have to make it much more of a personal experience.
Okay.
So
what do you mean by personal experience? What would I do to make it a personal experience?
Well, anytime anybody comments in your posts, it's a great way for public relations. You can talk to them. They comment on your posts and you respond to them immediately. Make them feel more like you're actually talking to them firsthand, as opposed to just your company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's much more personal based.
Exactly.
And Twitter, what would that be?
Twitter is taking the personal out completely. So it's kind of like if the internet was a highway, Twitter microblogs, the tweets would be the billboards. So it's getting your message out really quickly. It's a short form. You have only 140 characters, so you really kind of have to minimize your what you say on Twitter. But that being said, you can categorize your tweets. So some companies have hashtags. They have their independent hashtags.
Right.
And you can categorize it together, so you can bring the conversation back to the same point.
What's a hashtag?
A hashtag, it's kind of like it is a tag on Twitter. So if you press, that little number sign before a word, so like accounting,
right,
you can click through to see what everybody's saying about accounting.
Oh, I see. So it categorizes your specialty.
It does, exactly.
Oh,
yes.
That's great.
Yeah, so by that simple little number sign in front of a word,
right,
you can make anything categorized into that.
So my accounting company, what I could do is I could say, put that number sign, accounting, so anybody who clicks accounting or uses that would be automatically drawn, or at least I'd be one of the people that they would be drawn to.
Exactly, yes, yeah. So, and it's everywhere, so all around the world. But say if you wanted to create something like Irafino, you could put number sign Irafino,
right,
and you can see what everybody is saying about your company.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's really good. Oh, excellent.
Wonderful.
So let's go to LinkedIn. Well, that's a unique one, isn't it? Because that's more refined to business, isn't it?
I call it a cocktail party, so it's kind of an online cocktail party, in my opinion.
Oh, does it include martinis or not?
I wish.
Oh, okay. So cocktail party without the martinis.
Yes.
Okay.
Indeed. So it's kind of like showing up to a networking party, and you can get introduced to people on LinkedIn. You can put your profile up there, so it's like a resume, see what your experience has been. It's really a place to make yourself the expert. So it's the place to shine in your role. So if you're in construction, if you're in accounting, anything like that, you can, you first have your profile where you can say, this is where I can show you my expertise. You have groups, so there's LinkedIn groups where you can go and talk to other people who are interested about your the environment in which you work, the industry, and you can also, answer any questions on groups.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn is becoming much more social, so it's becoming kind of like Facebook as well, where you can post anything, like a link back to your blog or articles that you find interesting, and you can start that conversation.
So it's really more targeted to, say, somebody who is looking for business
Yeah.
or looking for a commercial
Definitely.
venture. It's more targeted for him, and therefore, rather than taking the shotgun approach that he would take in Facebook, he takes a more direct approach in
Yes,
LinkedIn.
much more direct and much more through people you know. So it's taking that 6 degrees of separation and
Right.
making it personal.
Okay.
So if you know someone, but you know somebody that you'd like to talk to that they know, but you've never had a conversation with them, you can ask a person to introduce you.
Oh,
So that's a handy thing.
so it's basically networking.
It is quite networking, and that's my
Great.
cocktail party.
What are some of the other ones that that are coming up right now? I heard about Instagram, which seems to be the next Twitter, or
Instagram it's more a curation of images. So it works well with Twitter in the fact that you can take a picture, post it on your Instagram account, and then have it tweeted automatically with your Twitter account.
okay,
So that's the way Instagram works. Another one that's image-based is Pinterest, which is becoming really big, especially more in women's clothing lines, things like that.
right,
Because you see pictures, and it's much more female-driven.
okay,
But a big one that's coming up is Google+. So that's another one as well.
what's Google Plus?
Google Plus? It's kind of the same idea as Facebook again, with give and take. It's much more drawn into your email. You can do documents. You can do hangouts, they call it. So it's a live chat kind of idea. But it's becoming much more prominent. Also, if your target is males, it's a very men-driven market at Google
Okay.
Plus. So.
And what would you tell? What would be the key thing that you would tell anybody getting into this market or getting into a social media? What do they have to do?
What do they have to do?
Yeah,
Well, first of all, content is key. Make sure before you start your Facebook or Twitter account that you have, a bunch of stuff that's backed up behind you. So anything like a newsletter or video, anything that you have done, commentaries, critiques on something in your industry. If you have, even if it's a small entry of about 500 words, something
Right.
that you can link back to. Make sure content is key, and make sure that you actually have the right message and the right target. So those are some of the best advice, best things that you can focus on if you're going into social media.
and I guess the other one is always be current. I mean,
Always.
it's become, you're almost doing this daily rather than
Yes.
leaving it for a month or two. You got to be on there on a daily basis.
Yes, current posts maybe if you can. I know it sounds like an obligation. Twice a day is usually what is preferred. Once a day, once a week, if it depends on your demographic. But keeping it relevant, and then of course, if something major happens if you're in your industry, if you were one of the first people to comment on it, people will look to you as the expert. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
So I guess another thing that's going to be critical for large corporations or corporations in the future is to have a social media coordinator inside the firm.
Definitely, yeah. Someone that can keep your audience engaged and can keep talking to them and doing whatever you have that are, whatever goals, setting those goals and getting them out there towards your demographic. It takes a lot more time than people think it does. So assigning that to a person within the company or outside of the company definitely helps for sure.
I think communication's critical to any corporation, and communication in the next century is going to be driven by social media. So if companies do not keep up, they will be left behind. They will be basically the buggy whips of the 21st century if you don't keep up. So I think it's imperative that you go and use experts like Catherine to ensure that your social media, your company's social media is kept up to date and is relevant to the outside users. If not, I think in the long term, many companies will die because they have not kept up with the market. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you, Nick.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me here.